look underneath for puddles under the engine and the transmission to indicate any kind of leaks.
All right.
I'm going to check the overall condition in front of the truck. All my lights are securely mounted. They're clean. They're not damaged. They're not broken. Then we're going to go with the functionality. Right, left, four ways, low beams, high beams, reflectors, and clearance lights. All securely mounted, operational in the correct color. Red on rear, amber elsewhere. Now we're going to open up. Clear. We come around to the right side of the vehicle. We're going to check our overall condition. We're going to look at all our wires are securely mounted and not damaged. All our hoses are securely mounted, not damaged, and not leaking. We're going to check our alternator. The alternator has the fins on the pulley. My alternator is securely mounted. All the wires on the back of it are securely mounted. It is belt driven. The belt's in good condition and has no more than 3/4 of an inch play. You must point to or touch the component you're inspecting and then state what you're inspecting for. We're checking our coolant level. The tank's secure and not leaking. The cap is secure and not leaking. All the hoses are secure and not leaking, and it is filled to the correct level. We're checking our water pump. It is securely mounted and not leaking. There's no missing hardware. It's belt driven. The belt's in good condition, and it has no more than 3/4 of an inch play. We're going to check our oil level. We're going to pull a stick out, wipe it off, put it back in, pull it out, make sure it's above the refill mark.
Are we actually like pulling it out and then really checking it?
You don't have to. You
We're
have
just
to
saying
point
it.
to
Okay.
and state what you're going to inspect.
Okay.
We're going to inspect our power steering pump, which is down along the frame. Our power steering pump is securely mounted and not leaking. It is gear driven. The hoses are also securely mounted, in good condition, and not leaking. We're going to check our air compressor, which is behind the steering pump. It is also gear driven. It is also securely mounted. No missing hardware and not leaking. The hoses going to it are securely mounted and not leaking. My power steering reservoir is securely mounted, filled to the correct level and not leaking. The hoses securely mounted, in good condition, and not leaking.
Clear.
My power steering gearbox securely mounted, no missing hardware, not leaking. My steering linkage, all the arms, rods, sockets, and joints are all in good condition. They're all tight, not worn, secured with nuts that are tight with cotter pins in place. My front spring mount, securely mounted, no missing or loose bushings. My leaf spring, securely mounted, not shifted, not broken, not missing. My U-bolts, all the nuts are present and tight. They're in good condition. My shock absorber, securely mounted, not damaged, not leaking. My brake hose, securely mounted, in good condition, not leaking. My brake chamber, securely mounted. No missing hardware, no loose or missing clamps, not leaking. My slack adjuster and push rod, securely mounted, no missing hardware, secured with a cotter pin, has no more than 1 inch play when pulled by hand with the brakes released. My brake linings, not worn dangerously thin or contaminated with grease or oil. My brake drum, not cracked, not welded, no holes, no contaminants such as grease or oil. Brings us out to our tire. ICD, inflation, condition, and depth. We're going to check the inflation with a tire gauge. At the same time, we're going to check the valve stem and cap to make sure they're in good condition, not damaged, and not leaking. Condition of the tire. The tire is worn evenly. There's no cuts, no chunks, no gouges in the tire. My depth, no less than 4/32 of an inch on a steer tire. My rim, not dented, not cracked, not welded. No powder trails indicating loose lug nuts. My lug nuts, all present, all tight. No distortion of the bolt holes. My axle seal. If it has a sight glass, we're going to make sure it's filled to the correct level. This one does not. We're going to make sure it's there and it's not leaking. Did we miss anything?
Yeah.
We're going to close the hood.
Uh-oh.
There. Everybody good?
Good.
First thing I'm going to do is check my seatbelt. Make sure it's not worn, torn, or frayed. That it buckles and unbuckles properly. Next, we're going to safe start the vehicle. We're going to check and make sure it's in neutral. We're going to check and make sure our brake valves, that our brakes are set. We're going to turn the key to the on position. Watch for our ABS light to come on and go off, and our needles to sweep. We're going to depress the clutch and start the vehicle. Check for neutral, slowly release the clutch. Okay. While we're waiting for it to build up air, we'll continue with our in-cab. We'll start with our 6 mirrors. We'll make sure they're clean, not broken or damaged, securely mounted and adjusted for me. We'll check our windshield. Not damaged, that it's clean, and there's no obstructions to my vision. Next, we'll check my windshield wipers to make sure they're securely mounted. Operate smoothly. And we'll check our wipers, our washers, that also work. Next, we'll check our heater and our defroster. Check that the defroster works. And we'll check that the heater works. And they both work. We'll check our horns. City horn. Highway horn. Highway horn, we don't have enough air. We'll come back to it next time. We'll check our lighting indicators. Our left. Our right. Four ways. And high beam indicator, and they all work. We'll check our water temperature gauge. After startup, it should rise to the operating level. Check our oil pressure gauge. After startup, it should rise to the operating pressure. We'll check our voltmeter. Should be between 12 and 14 volts. This one's at 13.9, so we're in good shape. We'll rev it up to 1,000 and get it to build up air pressure faster. And we'll check our highway horn. And there you go, our highway horn now works. Now, we'll check our emergency equipment. My fire extinguisher is securely mounted, properly charged, with a valid inspection date. I have 3 reflective triangles that are able to stand on their own. I have circuit breakers or fuses, whichever the truck is equipped with.
And what would the circuit breakers, fuses be?
Either up here or in the glove box. I am. I'm holding it at 1,000 RPM, so it builds up air pressure faster.
And how can you tell if it's at 1,000 RPMs?
Watch the tack.
Thanks. Okay.
You heard the cutout, correct?
Yes.
Okay, we got full air pressure. I'm gonna shut the truck off. Turn the key back on. The needles will sweep. My ABS light will come on and go out. Put the truck in 4th gear. Let up on the clutch to act as a wheel chock. Now, we are going to start our brake checks. We are going to release our brakes. Allow the air to stabilize. We're going to put our foot on the brake. Allow it to stabilize. Siri, start a timer for a minute.
1 minute, counting down.
I'm going to start a hold it for a minute. We should have no more than 4 pounds of pressure loss in a combination vehicle. So our secondary tank lost more than 4 pounds of pressure. Our primary tank is still not. We're going to continue to our low air warning system test. We're going to fan the brakes down to be 460 pounds. We're going to look for a light and or buzzer to come on. Okay. We have a light and or buzzer. Now we're going to continue to our emergency pop-out test. We're going to continue to fan the brakes down to between 40 and 20 psi, at which point the valves will pop out. The trailer valve can pop out first. They can pop out together, but never the tractor before the trailer. Now you just pump and watch the valves. And as you saw, they both popped out together. That is a successful test. Now we are going to safe start the vehicle. We're going to make sure the valves are out. Put the truck back in neutral. Keep the clutch depressed and start the vehicle. We are once again going to increase the RPMs up to 1,000 to build up the air pressure faster. Can I have about 2 minutes? Give me about 2 minutes. Yeah, then we'll be back out on the truck. Outside the truck. Well, that's all right. Don't even worry about it. Doing now is checking to make sure our gauges work, our air compressor works, and our governor cutout works. We're building it up to between 120 and 140 or the manufacturer's specifications. Now we're going to do our parking brake tests. We're going to release the tractor brakes. We're going to put the truck in 4th gear. We're going to pull on the trailer and make sure the brakes are set and they work. We're going to switch it. We're going to set the tractor brakes and release the trailer. And do the same thing to make sure that tractor brakes work. Now, if he wants you to do the service brake test, we release them both, pull forward at about 5 miles an hour. We hit the brakes. Number 1, to make sure they work, and number 2, to make sure they don't pull left or right. Now I'm going to ask the examiner to get out and check all my lights and make sure they all work. Now we have completed the in-cab and the brake check. Did we forget anything?
No.
Now we'll step back outside the vehicle. We'll shut it off, and out we get. Now, since he's working on this one, we're just going to continue on this one because the outside is the same. Okay? So, we get out of the truck. First thing we want to do is check our door. Make sure our door hinges are in good shape and it opens and closes the way it's supposed to. We check our door seal. Make sure it's intact and not damaged. We check our mirror, make sure it's not falling off the truck. In other words, it's securely mounted, not damaged and adjusted for me. We come back. We're going to check our upside down L reflector. Make sure they're intact and present. Correct color, red on rear, amber elsewhere. We're going to check our fuel tank. Make sure it's securely mounted, not damaged, and not leaking. My cap, securely mounted, not damaged, and not leaking. My catwalk and steps. Everything's securely mounted, free of debris, in a safe place for me to step. We're going to check my drive shaft. Make sure it's not broken, twisted, bent. All the U-joints are tight and free of debris. We're going to check our frame. Make sure there's no cracks, no welds, no aftermarket bolt holes. We're going to check our torque arm. Securely mounted. No missing or loose bushings. Check our air lines. Securely mounted on both sides. Not damaged and not leaking. Check our electric cord. Securely mounted on both sides. Not damaged, not worn, torn, or frayed. Nothing is dragging on my catwalk. We'll check our spring mount. Securely mounted. Not damaged, no missing or loose bushings. My leaf spring. Securely mounted, not shifted, not broken, not missing. My U-bolts, all present, all tight, in good condition. It's an air ride suspension, gentlemen. It's got a shock absorber. Securely mounted, not damaged, not leaking. It's got airbag mounts, upper and lower airbag mounts, securely mounted, not damaged. The airbag itself, securely mounted, not damaged and not leaking. My brake hoses, securely mounted, not damaged, not leaking. Hooked up to my brake chamber, securely mounted, not damaged, not leaking. No missing or loose clamps. Hooks up to my slack adjuster and push rod. No missing hardware. securely mounted, secured with a cotter pin, with no more than 1 inch play when pulled by hand with the brakes released. Hooked up to my brake linings, not worn dangerously thin or contaminated with grease or oil. They hit my brake drum, not cracked, not broken, no holes,
This on
no
the front tire.
contaminants. Sit back here.
Back here. Okay.
No contaminants such as grease or oil. Brings us out to our tires. Inflation, condition, and depth. ICD. Gonna check the inflation with a tire gauge. At the same time, we're gonna make sure the valve stem and cap are present, not damaged, and not leaking. Condition. My tires are worn evenly. There's no cuts, no gouges, no slices anywhere in the tires. They're in good shape. My depth. No less than 2 seconds on a drive tire. 2 tires together create bud spacing. The space is correct and free of debris. Brings us out to our rims. No cracks, no dents, no welds, no powder trails indicating loose lug nuts. Brings us to our lug nuts, all present, all tight. No distortion of the bolt holes. Brings us out to our axle seal. Tight and not leaking. I'm going to check this axle the same way I just checked this axle. Stay with the tractor. Back of the tractor. My mud flaps are in good condition, are securely mounted and not damaged. My ICC reflective tape is intact, it's present, and it's the correct color. Red on rear, amber elsewhere. My 3 lights you see, gentlemen, 8 functions. Left, right, 4-way, brake light, tail light, clearance light, reflector, and a backup light. Every light on this truck is also a reflector. They're reflective in nature, so it becomes a reflector. Okay? You need to say all the functions of the lights to get credit for the lights. Now, let's come back here. If it's something vertical, I recommend you do it from top to bottom. This way, when you look at it, you can follow your eyes. If it runs horizontal, work from the inside out, like we did with the drive shaft, the frame, the brakes, and the tires. We work from in to out. If it's vertical, you work from the top down. This way you keep it straight. Now, let's do our 5th wheel area. If we're working from the top down, the first thing we check is our trailer apron. It's the big plate on the front of the trailer. Make sure it's intact, not damaged. No bends, no cracks. Off the bottom of the trailer sticks what? The kingpin. It's not damaged, it's not bent, and it's not broken.
And this is the kingpin, right?
You can't see the kingpin.
You can't see it though.
No,
But it's, yeah.
without dropping the trailer.
Okay.
I will show you the kingpin when we get done with over here and walk over here.
All right.
Okay? So what's next? If we look underneath, what's next? We did the king apron
Skip it.
and the kingpin. Skid plate. Your fifth wheel skid plate. Securely mounted. Properly greased. Not damaged. There is no gap between the apron and the skid plate. What's next? Looking down. Our slide pins. The fifth wheel slide pins are locked in place. They lock into the platform base. Securely mounted, not damaged. That's all that shit gets held onto the truck by, guess what? The mounting bolts. All there, all tight. What locks around the kingpin? Locking jaws. Fully locked. The handle, the release handle is all the way in, and the fifth wheel is locked.
So is there different ways of locking the lock doors?
You're talking about this part right here, right? Yeah.
The skid plate is that big part,
That real thick part right
that
here.
real thick part on the bottom. The kingpin is the ball that comes from the trailer.
Okay.
And then this is all like the sliding mount. Is all that
All the
bolts and stuff right here.
manufacturers
Look,
realize
come right here.
that
Yeah, right here.
All the
truck
bolts
drivers
and all
get
that
fat,
stuff.
they get lazy. So most of the shit nowadays is on the driver's side. Okay, so now we finished the tractor, right? Right?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. The front of my trailer. The header board, bulkhead, whatever you want to call it, is not damaged and it's able to hold freight. My glad hands are fully locked and intact. The rubbers are in good shape and they're not leaking. My clearance light reflector is the correct color. Red on rear, amber elsewhere, and it works. The side of my trailer is in good shape. There's no holes, there's no damage. My ICC tape is intact and in good shape. Correct color. Red on rear, amber elsewhere. We're working our way back. We look under. We see cross members. All the way down the trailer. As we can see, we'll look under and we'll see cross members. What we're looking for, gentlemen, no more than 2 broken rivets on any single cross member. Okay? Brings us back here to my landing gear. It is not bent. It is not damaged. It's not broken. My landing pads are in place and in good shape. My handle is secure and it's fully raised. We're coming back. We're watching out for our rivets. We come to our side light, which I neglected on the cab. So now, this is all you see. I neglected it up there. I got this and it reminded me.
Yeah.
Now I say my side light and functionality for both lights. Left, right, 4-way, clearance light, and a reflector for both positions. And we keep, now you just got that box. Now we keep going back. At this point, we have the opportunity to look under the trailer and look at the cross members and floor. And it's in good shape. Now, come to the frame of our trailer. We'll start with our trailer slide pins.
It's over here. It's right over
Yeah, there's one here. I was looking for the second one.
here. Second one is right behind the tire.
Second one's right behind the tire. There you go. In any case, my slide pins are out and fully locked. My handle is in and fully locked. My frame looks good. So now we gotta go through the whole horse shit again, gentlemen. My front spring mount, intact, securely mounted. No missing or loose bushing. Sound familiar? You've heard this spiel twice now. My leaf spring, securely mounted, not shifted, not broken, not missing. Held on by my U-bolts, all present, all tight, in good condition. Is this sprung? Or is it? Yes. No, this one's airbags. Which means I have an upper and lower airbag mounts. In good condition, securely mounted. My airbag, good condition, securely mounted, not leaking. That means I don't even have to look. Under there's a shock absorber someplace that's securely mounted, not damaged and not leaking.
So,
Where's the shock, Rocco? Where's the shock? It's airbags, right?
That's what I meant if you failed.
Shock's right there.
Yeah, it's airbags, right?
Yeah, it's airbags and shock.
Now I have to examine the douchebag that just crawled under the fucking truck
Done.
and make sure he's fucking ready to be shot.
Don't forget the shocks are on the inside part of the...
Yeah, I got your fucking shock right here, Bucko. So now we're up to my brake hoses. Securely mounted, not damaged, and not leaking. Now, anytime there's a problem, instead of trying to look behind these, look over there.
I don't see the bag.
You what?
The airbag?
It's on the front. It's on the behind the front tire.
Oh, it's on the top.
right here on the
Is that what
top.
that is? Oh, okay.
Which means it's in the same place on that axle. Okay, so my brake hoses, securely mounted, not damaged, in good condition and not leaking. They hook up to my brake chamber. It's the thing in that big can. Securely mounted. Not damaged, not dented, not leaking, no missing or loose clamps. See the slack adjuster in the push rod? Securely mounted. No missing hardware, secured with a cotter pin. No more than 1 inch play when pulled by hand with the brakes released. My brake linings, not worn dangerously thin or contaminated with grease or oil. That's half the issue. My brake drum, not cracked, not broken. No holes, no welds, no contaminants such as grease or oil.
I have a quick question. How do we realistically check like the brake drum without actually like getting like put out on the field like already with our truck? And,
What do you mean, like out on the road?
yeah. So I really
You do.
like-
You look from one side to the other.
Okay.
If it's, you'll know if it's cracked or broken. You'll feel it
Okay.
when you hit the brakes.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Cool.
A lot of times when they break the brake drums, the broken piece just falls off,
So it's gone.
and you see it on the fucking road. Because the brake drum just slides over the
Yeah,
bolts,
correct.
just like your car.
Yeah.
Well, like an older car.
Yeah. New
It
cars
just
don't have that
slides
anymore.
over it. So if you break a piece of the drum, it falls off.
Correct. Okay.
Gotcha.
So now we're out to the tires. Same spiel for the tires you already heard twice. ICD. Inflation, condition, and depth. I'm going to check the inflation with a tire gauge. At the same time, we're going to check the valve stem and cap and make sure they're intact and not damaged and not leaking. We're going to check the condition of the tires to make sure they're worn evenly. There's no gouges, there's no chunks missing out of the tires. 2 tires together creates what? Blood spacing. Making sure it's clear and free of debris. Brings us out to the depth. No less than 2/32 of an inch on a trailer tire. The rims. Not cracked, not dented, no welds, no brokes, just in good shape, no powder trails, indicating loose lug nuts. The lug nuts, all present, all tight. No distortion of the bolt holes. My oil seal. That one has a sight glass. We're going to check and make sure it's filled to the correct level and not leaking. I am going to check this axle the same way I just checked this axle. Got it? My mud flap. Securely mounted. Not damaged. Not falling off the fucking truck. My ABS light. Correct color. Red on rear, amber elsewhere. And it works. My clearance light reflector, correct color, red on rear, amber elsewhere. My door tie, present and tight. Now, brings us to the back, gentlemen. Vertical, where are we starting?
Top.
Up fucking top. My clearance lights. Correct color, red on rear, amber elsewhere, and they work. My door hinges. All there, not broken. My door handles. All secured, correct, in good condition, and the doors open and close. My ICC reflective tape. Intact and in place, red on rear, amber elsewhere. My lights. Left, right, 4-way, tail light, brake light, clearance light, reflector. 7. No backup light on the trailer.
Yeah. That's right.
Clearance light, correct color, red on rear, amber elsewhere. I am going to check this side of the truck the same way I checked that side of the truck, with one exception. The exhaust system. Before we get to the exhaust system, gentlemen, there's your release handle. For the 5th wheel. It's in and locked. Now, on a Volvo, we have a stack. On a Freightliner, we do not have a stack. It is underneath. Don't go in there, he's moving. Back up, he's moving. It's underneath. See it?
Yep.
Okay? We're checking for the same shit.
This one goes up, that one goes
Securely mounted. No missing or loose clamps.
up.
And we're looking for no soot trails between the joints indicating an exhaust leak. That's what you're looking for, gentlemen. You have just completed your first pre-trip. Hopefully I didn't